Hi, I'm Whitney Espich, the CEO of the MIT Alumni Association, and I hope you enjoy this digital production created for alumni and friends like you.
Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for being here today. My name is Erin Hollis from the MIT Alumni Association, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to today's program, The Longevity Economy, with Dr. Joe Coughlin, Director of MIT Age Lab. First, a bit about Dr. Coughlin. He teaches in the Department of Urban Studies and Planning and at the Sloan School's Advanced Management Program. He conducts research on the impact of global demographic change and technology trends on consumer behavior and business strategy. He advises a wide variety of global firms in financial services, healthcare, leisure, travel, luxury goods, real estate, retail, technology, and transportation. He has served on advisory boards for firms such as Bell Canada, British Telecom, Fidelity Investments, and Sanofi Aventis. He was appointed by President George W. Bush to the White House Advisory Committee on Aging and by the Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker to the Governor's Council on Aging in Massachusetts, where he co-chaired the Innovation and Technology Subcommittee. His most recent book, The Longevity Economy Inside the World's Fastest Growing, Most Misunderstood Market, is a CEO Read business bestseller. Dr. Coughlin's presentation today will run about 30 minutes, followed by a 10-minute Q&A session. I welcome our viewers to submit your questions using the Q&A box in your toolbar, and all questions will be held until the end of the presentation. With that, I'll hand things over to Dr. Coughlin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erin. It's great to be here. I wish I could be with the entire class of 70, but high tech is better than no touch at all. So I want to thank all of you for taking a few minutes out to be with me to learn about this thing that I've dubbed the longevity economy. It's about all of us getting older, not just living longer, but I hope living better. But in fairness, I can't take any credit for anything that is going on in my lab without thanking. A little bit of technical hiccup there. We'll see if we can skip that the next time. Let me begin with a story to give you an idea of where the longevity economy came from. And my lab, the MIT Age Lab, is based originally in the School of Engineering Center for Transportation and Logistics. But it began with a story, an inspirational story of a woman who on her 115th birthday, Sarah Noss, on her 115th birthday, you can imagine this, was asked by a journalist, Ms. Noss, why do you enjoy living so long? Can you imagine the best word I can use? The chutzpah of asking a woman this old why she enjoyed living so long. But she came back with an answer far better than a researcher, a physician, a philosopher, a politician. She said, I enjoy my life because I have my health and I can do things. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the genesis of the MIT Age Lab and the work that we're doing across campus here at MIT. Longevity or longer life itself is happening despite everything we see around us. The new challenge is how do we live longer better? How do we employ science, technology, the social sciences, the humanities to envision not just more time, but more time well spent? And how I do that is, frankly, I don't do much of it. My team does. I have an amazing array of graduate students, research staff, and faculty from mechanical engineering, urban, electrical, civil engineering, including business school and the like. Very multidisciplinary, because if you think about it, aging is a multidisciplinary sport. So without these folks, whether they're students or staff or faculty, we don't get anything done. Our work touches on transportation and retail, housing, care, self-care. Because as I said, not only is aging a multidisciplinary sport, it is multiple domains. And aging until MIT started the lab was basically owned either by engineers who said there's a widget for that, or by doctors saying there's a disease for that, when in fact we know that longevity should be about living better, not simply whether you've took your meds or simply whether your house can talk to you. But we're doing that too. want you to look at these children. I want to tell you a story of longevity. As I write in my book, The Longevity Economy, believe it or not, old age is very new. But look at these cute kids. You know why they're cute? They're not teenagers. Well, actually, they may be, in some cases, really cute grandchildren. I want you to think of something. One half of the children born in the so-called industrialized world, one half, are likely to live over 100 years. Start thinking about what a century of living means. How many, not jobs will you have? How many careers will you have? How many times will you move? Do you really believe that an education from 0 to 21 years old or 0 to 25, the traditional way we think of education is going to last for 40, 50, 60 years of living? Probably not. Will my wife of 30 plus years want to hear me tell the same jokes over and over and over again? By the way, as a side note, for most of the men in the audience, the divorce rate is highest for those of us over age 50. Just saying. Here's a number I want you to think about. 2047. Imagine this. Now, I know most of us don't have it in our business plan, let alone our plan, period. But in 2047, it is estimated there will be more people on the planet over the age of 60 than there will be children. I know what you're saying, well, 2047, it's a ways off, whatever it might be. You see, the birth rate has dropped so low and the longevity numbers have gone so high that we're starting to reach a part that Thomas Malthus and all his other, shall we say, dismal scientists in the economics profession never thought would happen, that the population would go up, go up, go up. And we're looking now at mid-century with even the UN, shall we say, less than optimistic numbers start to come down the other way. In fact, this has already happened in Europe, and in 2034, it will happen here in the United States. And by the way, to our north, our cousins in Canada, it has already occurred since 2016. More people over 60 than children we have. In fact, some countries are getting very nervous. So imagine this, Denmark actually funded a study, I love this kind of research money, funded a study to find that the Danes apparently have more sex outside of Denmark than they do inside the country. So they started an entire advertising campaign called, ready for this, you can't make this up, Do It for Denmark. Do a YouTube on it. The commercial looks a little bit not like a commercial. It looks like something you probably shouldn't be watching. But the idea was to get wannabe grandparents to buy vacation tickets for adult children to go to New York, go to Paris, but please come back with a souvenir. By the way, it's not just the Danes. In Italy, they had an Instagram campaign to get young people to have children. In Russia, they have Make a Patriot Day, where if you can demonstrate that you made said patriot, 9 months later, you might win a truck, a discount on your apartment. In fact, an entire refrigerator. So the new disruptive demographics of a global society is, yes, about getting older because we are living longer, but it's also because we've stopped having children. Germany, I love working with German companies. They're a lot of fun. They're very innovative. And look at this. They now even created an anti-aging beer. But we are looking at the economic powerhouse of Europe, not just getting older, they're going away. We're looking at a country that is aging dramatically, birth rates are through the floor, and even with immigration, they are likely to see their population be 1/3 over the age of 60 by mid-century and lose anywhere from 10 to 15, and some estimates even say 20 million of their population. So imagine this, Europe's manufacturing powerhouse, Europe's bank, if you will, is not just getting older, it is shrinking. Nations that we've depended on for foreign policy, economic policy, defense policy, are not going to be what they are today in only a few short years. In Italy, they are giving away villages. You may see this on CNN, National Geographic, BBC, but they're actually giving away villages virtually tax-free or for $1 to buy a house if you would simply move in and populate those towns, largely in Southern Europe. We're seeing it in Southern Italy, we're seeing Greece, we're seeing it outside of Munich in Germany. And by the way, for my American viewers, we're seeing it in Maine, upstate New York, West Virginia, the Midwest. We are seeing a fundamental reallocation of the population, having profound impacts on how we live, how we care, and on real estate. And China. Did any of us in our lifetime believe that China would be issuing a workforce shortage? But by 2050, their population of people over 60 will outnumber the entire projected population of the United States, which is supposed to be about 400 million. And the median age from Europe to China to the United States looks like US, at least in terms of youthful age workers, may have a strategic advantage. I want you to imagine an entire country that is made up of 60 plus, and an entire nation or average where the average person out there is well in their, shall we say, well in or past their midlife crisis. And this picture will stick with you perhaps for the rest of the day, maybe even the rest of the weekend. But in Japan, I could show you all kinds of fun numbers. In Japan, they are now selling more adult diapers than they are selling child diapers. Yes, numbers, shall we say, provide insight, but stories provide, shall we say, impact. And I want you to start thinking about this. In Japan, where the immigration policy is generally one word, no. And as a result, we see a population that is aging dramatically, with a birth rate that's going through the floor, where the powerhouse of Asia, or frankly, the number one partner for the US economically and in many other ways, is going roughly from 127 million people, where they were celebrating earlier this year. Their government was saying, you know, the population sinking is not nearly as bad as we think it will be. It may only go down to 90 million. And by the way, of that 90 million, estimates are anywhere from 30 to maybe as much as 40% being over the age of 60 years old. Here in the United States, the darker the state that you're looking at indicates the higher the concentration of people over age 65. Now I want you to look at the industrial belt, the farm belt. This is not just a story, shall we say, of social demographics. It is not just a story of markets. It's also a story of workforce. The average American farmer today is 61 years old. The average doctor, just as we're all aging and we need them, is 53. Average nurse is 50. There are a lot of young people looking for jobs, but there are a lot of young people not wanting the jobs where there are openings, from petrochemical to power plants to medicine to farming and the like. But if we're going to live 100 years, I say we enjoy it. You know, this whole wellness thing, there's a fine line between living longer and making it feel that way. But what I want you to start thinking about, as all of us, particularly those of us that are baby boomers, that there's a new population rising. It's almost like an entire continent is rising out of the abyss that no one knows about. Because we have been socialized, and we are the people who did this, we the baby boomers, created a youth culture so strong that we are now invisible in many cases. Invisible to business, invisible to advertising, and in many ways invisible even to government. But there's a longevity economy, if you will, rising. It's different because we are not our parents or our grandparents. More of us now have a college education than any time before, or a high school any time before. As income and education go up, we see other things change as well. We see attitude change. Because I hate to say this at an alumni event, but education alone does not make you smart, but it can give you attitude. Look at these numbers. 64% of people over 65 believe their IQ is higher than average. 74% of us have a great deal of confidence in ourselves. A very different, shall we say, older adult population that was much like my grandparents or uncles and aunts that would sit at home and wait patiently, rocking in their chair back and forth, hoping someone would visit or make a very meek complaint. No, this is a very different person in a very different generation. And the digital divide, think about it. How many of you are online? You're watching me right now. But the fact of the matter is that even social media has now become the domain largely of middle-aged and older women. Facebook has actually been referred to in some quarters as the social media nursing home. Why? Because some numbers suggest that the number one group of people joining are people over the age of 47. That's why in many cases my students will run in horror if I ask them if they have a Facebook page, because frankly, you don't want to have a Facebook page to post what you did Friday night so that your mother and your grandmother see it on Saturday morning. And guess what? Gaming is not just for kids. Gaming now has become so popular that there are people that are getting Wii wrist and Wii elbow, competing in Wii and virtual games online, from senior centers to senior housing to at home. So in fact, we see the digital divide is not totally closed based upon age, but boy, there's a really nice causeway that was not there as little as 10 years ago. But there's another thing. I want you to think about this. They've got numbers, they've got education, they're now more tech savvy, but guess what? Even today, this is still where the money is. If you look at the GDP of the United States, the largest economy in the world, then China, and if you look at the 60 plus, the so-called longevity economy makes up 30% of the global spend. If you look at the 50 plus in the United States, it makes up nearly 70% of the global spend. And yet, it only accounts for 1 to less than 2% of advertising dollars. Because remember, old people apparently don't like new stuff, buy stuff, or even want new experiences. But remember this, in the words of the great philosopher, Jimmy Buffett, and I am a parrot head, I'm afraid to inform all of you. In the words of Jimmy Buffett, we are the people your parents warned you about. The next generation of old, the folks that are here today, here's the difference. It's not about the education. It's not about the money. It's about the attitude. It's about the expectation. The innovation gap to live longer and better is because our parents and our grandparents and before them expected to go quietly with less and assume that because at a certain age, you retire, you pull back. How many of you have made that decision? How many of you are expecting technology to make it better? Expecting a medication to address what you need, a device to make something easier? So indeed, the real difference in the longevity economy is not about more older people. It is about a greater expectation. And the delta between the previous generation and the new generation, this is the white space for policy, business, science, and an endless frontier of innovation. Let me tell you a story. You know, we at MIT, we worship technology. We know it's got incredible power. But I learned many years ago at MIT that the oldest technology in the world, the most powerful technology in the world, is the story. Stories explain cause and effect, why we do things, why we can do some things. And guess what? There is a story of old age. And I'm here to tell you today that old age is made up. Yep, it is. It's not just about how many birthdays or whether my elbow hurts or whatever chronic condition I'm managing this week. No, old age has a distinct story to it. And it revolves around something called vital energy. You see, in the 1800s, British medicine was actually delivering a whole storyline around the idea that you were born with a certain amount of energy. Kind of a vital force is what they referred to it. Kind of like a full glass of water. And over time, as you drained down that water and emptied that glass, you were getting tired. You were running out of energy. In fact, you were getting so tired, what's the language? You got it. You'd have to retire. So you see, we weren't half full, you became half empty. And so what we started to see is that that story that came to the United States and spread around the world started to have real implications with language and institutions. In the 1800s, if you were old and could not work and did not have a family to care for you or could not afford to care for you, you went to a poorhouse or an almshouse. And guess what those places were converted into in the 1900s, particularly after the 1930s? Alms homes went to nursing homes. And nursing homes, for many of us old enough, know that there was also a phrase not just for funeral places, but funeral parlors and, you guessed it, funeral homes. See, there was a nice straight linear line on our story of old age. And it has consequences. We now look at old age not as finding, shall we say, the fountain of youth where we're living longer, where life expectancy in the last century has gone up 30 plus years, and in some cases more for a lucky few perhaps. Instead of celebrating this as one of the greatest achievements of humankind, economists, politicians, and a lot of us look at it as a ticking time bomb, a global problem to be solved rather than an opportunity to be realized. Even in those cultures that have once celebrated old age, we are now realizing that even those cultures, as society and economics has changed us, are now looking at old age and even parents as a burden to be packed away. Our stories did have some benefits. In fact, one of the most powerful stories that we have here in the United States, and we've exported around the world, is that in older age, you've earned your time to retire. You've earned your time of leisure, and that may be true. So Del Webb, a genius and developer, but more a genius in dreaming, said, after World War II, what do we have here? We have a lot of older people. They have pensions. They're in reasonable health. What are they going to be doing? I know. We'll create an entire lifestyle, if you will, around leisure, recreation. Not altogether incorrect, but perhaps woefully incomplete. Other stories have consequences as well. I want you to imagine, as I wrote in my book, The Longevity Economy, Heinz Senior Foods, just listen to that name, Senior Foods. You want to go out and buy it? Created an entire product line based upon their understanding of what old age was about. First off, older people have no teeth. Apparently they have no taste, and they wanted it to taste like baby food. Well, that product lasted a very, shall we say, short time. And how about this? Many of us may even have them in our homes. Personal emergency response systems, or as the Europeans call them, social alarms. Many of us realize what they are, which is the help, I fallen, I can't get up service. Only 35% of people over 75 report that they're old. But 100% of people who use a device that says old man walking know that they're old. In fact, I want you to think about this. Studies suggest that the penetration rate of the 65 plus who are frail enough to need these devices, less than 5% of the people who need them actually use them and buy them. Even the ones who buy them, often the pendants and the watches are left on coffee tables or taken off in the shower, just the very place where they're needed. And by the way, you might say that it's price. Okay, fine. Somebody out there is saying that their mother and father is worth less than a cable monthly TV bill. Fine. Let's go to the UK, where the National Health Service will pay for it full freight. Well, the adoption rate there only goes up to 12%. Making devices that say old man or old lady are not a winner by themselves. Even senior housing, even before the pandemic hit, is starting to really rethink their model. Are these the places? Is this the vision of where we want to live? Just as the population is aging dramatically, their census, that is the number of people living in their properties, is not exactly doing what was predicted by spreadsheet. And what is this? This is how many engineers and designers think that they can help us with our usability of devices. This doesn't look like a TV remote. It looks like a self-defense device. How about this? As we age, and I'm guilty of this in my own lab and many of my students and colleagues and whatnot, as we age, apparently we only have two things to worry about, whether we have fallen or whether we've taken our medication. Again, not incorrect, but incomplete. Life is about more than your physiological metrics. What color is this? I'm going to pause for a moment. How about this one? Why am I showing you those colors? Because for some reason, every product that is designed to go for an older person or in an older person's home is some form of beige, or if they want to make it really sexy, some sort of clinical blue. I'm just saying, many of you may disagree, beige is not a color. It is big, it's beige, and it's often very boring. My students developed something called Agnes, the Age Gain Now Empathy System. It is a suit that my students, researchers, companies we work with, faculty wear to give them, shall we say, the joys of being close to 80 or 80 plus with 2 or 3 chronic conditions: diabetic neuropathy, vision problems, hearing issues, reduced joint movement, stretching, and the like. One of the first projects we worked on was rethinking spaces that you don't often think of. We think of hospitals, we think of homes. But you know, there's a certain amount of friction, fatigue, and frustration that is often experienced by simply going to the store. So we worked with CVS a number of years ago to help them rethink, if you will, what that store should look like. So rather than having everything at the top shelf that you can't reach, or at the bottom where you can't reach, break up the kiosks, improve the lighting, make it easier to navigate, make it easier to find the things you want. List things not by the product, but by the problem you're trying to solve. So Agnes uses empathy for the user so that they can actually not just, shall we say, know what the limitations are, but if a student or an engineer or a designer uses that, unlike an older person who may report, well, it's difficult, you know, we don't want to do it. Well, they may lie a little bit too. They may say, yes, it's difficult, but not be willing to tell us why it's difficult, versus a designer, engineer, even a marketer will say, this is stupid. We can easily fix this by whatever that fix might be. But they've got to feel the pain first. How about this? How many technology and aging projects address the F word? No, not that F word. I'm talking about fun. One of our team of students developed Rendeavor. This is a a virtual reality, essentially, that allows you to travel to nearly any place you want to go to. You want to go to Paris to the Louvre, you want to go to Machu Picchu. Frankly, if you want to use Google Earth to go to your street that you grew up in. The idea of having life and technology be far more than whether it's about life and health. One of our very first graduate students, Cedric Hutchins, is one of the founders of Withings, showing that devices that monitor your physiological well-being and tell time do not have to be big, beige, and boring, but can be fun, stylish, and indeed, ageless. Let me pause for a moment. Now, I bet a number of you are engineering majors or some sort of quant jocks. I want to go just a little bit of quick math with you. You know, from 0 to 21 years old, and if it makes it easier, drinking age, is about 8,000 days. Do you know from 21 to what many might call midlife crisis, 46, 47, be generous, is about 8,000 days. And from midlife crisis to 65, I bet you're getting the algorithm now, is 8,000 days. But here's the thing. You know the best correlation to living a long time is education and income? And from 65 to 85 and change is what? You got it, 8,000 days. If I take off the 0 to 21 and call that childhood or very young adulthood, let's just take that off. What we're talking about when we talk about older age, we're talking about 1/3 of your adult life. This is not just a short period of one and done. This is an entire life stage that is laying out there to be invented, to be rethought, to be lived. We work with the 85 plus. Many of the people you see in this panel, they're called our 85 plus lifestyle leaders. My team works with them, and many of them are either MIT graduates or spouses of MIT graduates, and they come in on a regular basis, and they have no fear giving us their opinion of either a new project we're working on, a new technology, talking to us about everything from sex to society to social isolation. They're an amazing group of people. Sadly, we lost one of them this week. Lou Aronin, a great man. He was coming up very close in a few months to his 101st birthday. A great group of people that, while we use Agnes to have empathy, they give us insight. So here's some questions I want to kind of conclude on and kind of weave a story of how we're looking at the future of longer living, making it better. So here's a couple things. We know that 1/3 of Americans and Canadians and even the UK say they plan to work until they drop. Another third basically say, well, I don't quite want to stop working. I just want to stop what I've been doing for decades. So one of the questions we have in the lab is, how do we rethink work? Think about work today. It used to be you had older workers and younger workers. You now have 5 generations of workers under one roof. The so-called silent generation, World War II generation, guess what? They're still out there, 2 to 3% of them. And by the way, if you're a small business owner, average age, well into their 50s, which means there's a lot of folks in their 60s and 70s still running their own shop. How about this? How are you going to manage being ill? That is, you have 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 chronic conditions, but you're not so sick that you can't visit a grandchild, volunteer part-time, or even go do something in the garden, or maybe even work. We're thinking about that. How can technology, such as the Internet of the Things, make your home connected? Yes, to help you manage your medications, to ensure that you're working or eating that you should be eating, and to make sure, frankly, that you're moving around and physically well. This is an e-home project that we did a couple years ago with a number of our grad students and undergrads. The idea was not simply just to remind you to take your meds, but to provide a system that would be in, say, your adult child's house or a friend's house that enabled you to do everything from, hey, how are you today? Here's my favorite cookie recipe, and yes, the bulb glows red if you haven't taken your medication. We wanted to blend social connection with physical, not just remind you that you need to take your medication. How about this question? Very few of us put this in our retirement plan. We think it's about beach walks and golf courses. Where will you live? Well, 70+% of the 50 plus in the United States live in suburban areas and rural areas around the country. Where you live dictates in many cases how well you will age. Access to health, the things you can do, exercise, access to the intensity and density of activities that we in urban planning call the things that make up community. 87% of us say we want to age in place. That is, by the time you're in your 50s, the home that you're in, generally speaking, where your marriage or mortgage and your memories are, that's pretty much where you want to stay. But a lot of us say we can't. So my students and whatnot have been thinking about, how do we redesign communities where you're living in the suburbs, but you want some form of urbanesque living, if you will. Some of my students in my new class that we just offered on global aging in the urban planning department are rethinking the future of senior housing and adult living and retirement communities, from design to culture to social connection. These are real new thinking for a very, shall we say, old problem. Here's a question I bet you never thought about. How will you get an ice cream cone? Sounds silly, right? You know, if you think about it, when you do retirement planning, when we think about old age, we think about the wealth, and we think about health. We forget about the things that give us a quiet, momentary smile. So it's a hot summer night, and you want an ice cream cone. Can you walk to it? Can you drive to it? Do you know what makes you smile? Question is, do you have access? My colleagues and I at the Center for Transportation and Logistics started the Age Lab on the very issue of transportation, because driving is still the major way we get around, especially where we live. We identify driving as independence and freedom. And we like to crack things up on campus. My team has got 5 cars that are in various states of autonomy. We want to find out, is the driverless vehicle the promise that everyone thinks it is for older adults? Because guess what? The high tech, high style, high price is bought first by the 50 plus. Ironically, the highest tech vehicle, the leader, the lifestyle leader that will adopt that first will not be a young millennial with a smartphone, but will be an older adult who just bought that car. How are those technologies learned, used, eventually trusted and adopted? No one teaches us how to use those technologies in the dealership. Quite often, the experience you have today buying a car is the same one you may have had 50 years ago, let alone your parents had probably 70 years ago. So a number of the vehicles we have, some of these we still have. We've got some new ones, including Tesla vehicles, looking at the various types of technology, audio alert systems, haptic systems. How does that human-computer interface, machine interface really change with age? And Agnes comes again, because many of us may not want to drive, but how do we rethink the design of communities, transit systems and whatnot? So we bring older adults with us, with students and Agnes, to, shall we say, calibrate the experience to redesign and re-engineer what could be. Here's a question for you. Who will you have lunch with? Sounds like a funny question. So a number of years ago, Bob Putnam, a great sociologist who teaches at the, what's the art school up the river from us? Oh yeah, Harvard, that's it. Putnam wrote a great book called Bowling Alone. The argument was the baby boomers, many of you on the line, and including myself, dropped out of groups. We didn't join Rotary, Kiwanis. We dropped out of school committee as soon as our kids graduated. We just didn't join clubs. We didn't belong to community organizations. We chose to bowl alone. That is, we still enjoyed bowling, but we didn't join bowling leagues. So now the problem we have in the country, the pandemic that was before COVID-19 that is still with us, is social isolation. And it affects older adults overwhelmingly. So we wanted to start thinking about how can we use new technologies that, even if distance is a problem, could we use video games? Could we use ways to keep you physically fit and connected? One of the images you see on the right of your screen is one of an MIT alum from a number of years ago using one of our telehealth, tele-exercise system to exercise with other adults that could be around the world. So he had social network, exercise, and a little connectivity. We're setting the agenda. This was a fun event we did last year with Katie Couric, of all people, on really having a national summit on connectivity, social isolation, particularly in rural America. And my students and my team are even reaching into high school, where we now have a national program trying to reach down into high school students to reach out to older adults to come up with innovations that connect us across the generations. How will you provide care? 1 in 4 American families provides care, either for a loved one in the house, a partner, a spouse, or for a parent or an elderly sibling. So we've created this thing called Care Hive. We envision a global panel of caregivers around the world. That means anybody who's calling up to say, hey, how are you? The things that are far more complicated on the medical side, to better understand what are the jobs of providing care, informal care, so we can develop new technologies, services, experiences, and advance the science to help people who are providing care informally. Our vision is a very big project that we really are enjoying now called home logistics. I want you to imagine the home no longer as a place to live, but as a platform for service. How the Internet of Things combines with the on-demand economy and robotic assistance to have services brought to the house. This was accelerated dramatically by COVID-19, because what was once a life we thought was only for millennials has now become a lifeline for all of us. And the example I love from this, Toto, Panasonic, and others have smart toilets. And please put down, if you have anything you're eating, down on the table now. I want you to imagine a smart toilet. The best way to put it, I'll keep this in computer science speak, that downloads from the user, if you will, your body weight, blood pressure, temperature, and did you eat well last night? And are you taking the medication you're supposed to? And that uploads those data. Yes, our vision at the MIT Age Lab and with our colleagues across campus is to envision a house that is not just smart, not just serving, but one that cares and can anticipate what you need before you need it. So let me end on the following. MIT's own Vannevar Bush, the dean, vice president of MIT, founder of Raytheon, National Academy of Sciences, he argued that science was the endless frontier. With deference to the great man, I believe indeed he's correct. Science indeed is the endless frontier. I would suggest humbly that science in service of quality of life is the new endless frontier. And we at MIT are trying to do that. And hopefully we will all make it possible for us to live longer and better. And by the way, congratulations to all of you in celebration of your 50th anniversary class of 70. Thank you so much. And if you've got time for questions, it'd be great to take.
Thank you so much, Dr. Coughlin. You certainly left us with a lot of things to think about. We have quite a few questions that have come in, and I'd say about half of them, as you may have suspected, are around COVID-19. Taking a look at the questions here, I guess, can you talk for a moment, you touched on this a little bit, how COVID-19, has it changed your perspective on aging, and just what are your general thoughts around this topic?
COVID-19 has really, shall we say, wreaked, the phrase used in political science, issue displacement. It has displaced the idea of longevity. It kind of dents that storyline, but not so much. Because while it is incredibly impactful on people around the world, especially those over 50 and 60 years old, this is going to pass. In fact, one of the things we found, the people that were most worried about it were actually people Gen X and in many cases the millennials, the so-called Gen Y. Because if you think about it, they're caring for kids and often providing care for older adults. So I believe the longevity story is not only just going to continue, but it's going to accelerate. My team has been doing surveys across the pandemic period for the last 10 to 12 weeks on how it's changing things. And Aaron, for the person who also asked the question, what we see is many of the things that we thought were on the frontier, the home services, the telemedicine, the going to school online, the working from home, COVID-19 is not transforming our lives. It is accelerating our lives, the things that were already out there on the frontier that have now been pushed into your living room.
All right, we have another question here. Are you able to give an example of companies you think that are handling older workers in a good, innovative way?
I would say that some of the auto companies are actually starting to address this, particularly in Germany, where the aging thing is really crushing the European workforce. And what they're doing is, rather than looking at robotics and AI as a way to drive older workers out, they're actually using cobotics, exoskeletal systems, if you will, to enable older workers to be able to work longer on the line, to be able to reduce the cases of injury. But make no mistake, ageism is still with us around the world, even in those cultures that are often given credit for, shall we say, worshiping old age for its wisdom. So no, technology is helping many of us be able to work longer. The financial services industry is finding ways to keep people living, working longer in those industries. And even IBM, P&G, Eli Whitney, I'm sorry, not Eli, Eli, the pharmaceutical company, have come together to create a consortia where retirees go into a pool, and when they need that lost knowledge, they can dip in to be able to use them.
Thank you. We have an alum here that's asking, can you talk a little bit about the Age Lab volunteer program that you have available?
So our work rests not just on creating new ideas in isolation. We are profoundly, shall we say, public facing. So volunteering on our website, you could be asked to to provide survey information. We do online experiments. When COVID-19 is up, we will have people back in the lab in general We run anywhere from 800 to 1,000 different research subjects through the lab, from driving to financial decision making to using smart technology. And in fact, our home logistics program, we will be deploying soon kits that will be sent in the mail that will be opened up and deployed in people's homes to better understand how our technology can actually help people live longer better. And I would be remiss if I did not push CareHive. We are really, really looking to create the first and the largest panel of caregivers worldwide and how you are providing care to older loved ones, whatever that might be.
Thank you. I think we are actually out of time, but I want to thank you, Dr. Coughlin, and thank you, alumni and friends, for attending today's virtual event. We wish you wellness and safety in the days ahead and look forward to seeing you again before too long, whether it's in person or virtually. There is more programming in store for today. We have more talks from faculty, the Tech Challenge games are coming up, and we have various class and living group events happening later today. So thanks again, Dr. Coughlin. Always enjoy hearing your presentations. I trust that our alumni did as well. So thank you, and thanks to all of our alumni for tuning in.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us. And for more information on how to connect with the MIT Alumni Association, please visit our website.